Welcome to season 9 of the Charity Matters podcast. So exciting. I'm Heidi Johnson, nonprofit founder, lifelong helper, and your host. I've been interviewing modern day heroes for over a decade with my blog, and I am so excited to share these inspiring conversations with our top rated podcast. Join me as we learn the challenges and stories of innovators, entrepreneurs, and modern day heroes who set out to solve the problems of humanity. Millions of students are heading back to school across the country, and that means supplies, arts, crafts, crayons, backpacks, and all those great things that parents and families are rushing to get for their kids. Today's guest, Mindy Rickenstein, is the founder of Supplies for Success. And for the past 24 years, she has been meeting the needs of families this time of year and throughout the year to provide those supplies. And I'm so excited to have this inspiring conversation about the beautiful work she's doing and continues to do to make a difference in the world. I'm so excited to have Mindy Rickenstein joining us today from Supplies for Success. Welcome, Mindy. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Heidi, for giving me this opportunity. It's so beautiful to meet you, and I'm excited to speak with you.
Me too. And I know everyone listening is really excited as well, because I feel like I bring people a gift each week, and a gift is a new friend and a new amazing human who does beautiful things for this world. And so I'm really excited to bring you and your story to our audience. So as we just jump in, tell us a little bit about what Supplies for Success does.
So, at Supplies for Success, we're dedicated to equipping children with the tools they need to succeed in school and beyond. We believe that every child deserves a shot at success, and we know that education is the pathway out of poverty. So, we provide
100%.
essential tools for learning and confidence to children in need. For the past 24 years, we've been donating new backpacks filled with essential school supplies before school starts so that kids can start school looking like their classmates and feeling hopeful and excited instead of ashamed and embarrassed.
I love that. That's so great. I mean, and you think about too, one of the most exciting things, most of our memories are going to get our school supplies,
Yeah.
right? We all have such happy memories about school supplies, but not everyone has happy memories around school supplies. And it's
Yeah.
something that we just take for granted every day. And that's why I think the conversations we're about to have and the conversations we do have here um, give us gratitude for just those things we've our whole life we've never even really we just don't think about. And I'm so glad we're going to talk about it. So I always say people don't wake up and start a nonprofit, especially 24 years ago. Congratulations, by the way, on that.
Thank you.
There's a journey, there's a path, there's a lot of things um, that form that. And so, talk to me when you were younger, when you were a child. Were your parents philanthropic? Did you grow up with mentors, or like what was your early, before you started this in 2002? What were your early kind of volunteering things that you think, when you look back and you see maybe the path more clearly in hindsight, some of the things that maybe formed that early Mindy?
Well, I had a feeling you were going to ask me this question, and I've given it a lot of thought. And I was lucky to have two parents who loved me, who, um, they loved me unconditionally, and they always saw the best in me. But they were really not involved with formal charity, nor were they particularly active in their community. But they did instill in me and my sister, good values. They
Right.
they taught me, empathy. They taught me that poverty is a crushing burden
Right.
and that charity matters.
Yeah.
And in Judaism, we call it tzedakah. And tzedakah is justice. It's not just charity, it's not an option, it's something that we're obligated to do. and to make the world better, and it just always resonated with me, and I felt a responsibility, I think, to do that, and,
Love that.
I think I was also very lucky in my that my parents always saw the best in me, they were always proud of me, and from that, I think I got the desire to be good and do good.
Oh, I love that. I mean, isn't that really just what we want for
Yeah.
our kids? And you think about that, and there's I feel the same way. Like I always tell my kids, you won the parental lottery, and they would look at me saying, "I don't think so. I have to take out the trash and empty the dishwasher. Like, how is this the lottery?" I'm like, "No, you won the lottery. You don't understand. You won the lottery." But we get these incredible gifts from our parents, and I think I love asking these questions because as nonprofit founders and people running nonprofits, we're so busy. We are doing 10,000 things. We just don't take a moment to really pause and think about our journey and think about the people who helped us up to get here. And I think it's really important that we really stop and think about that. It doesn't matter where you are in the world, whether you're a doctor, a nurse, doesn't matter if you're in the nonprofit space or not, but reflecting of who helped you to get here, I think is just always a good thing to think about. So I love that about your parents. So what happened in 2002? Because that is a long time ago, and I started a nonprofit in 2002. So it's 2003. I started my nonprofit. So you're ahead of me. But I think that there's a lot of things that happen that go into this, like your parents, that go into opening a nonprofit, and almost all the people I've interviewed can say that there was a moment or a group of things that came together that basically you knew without a shadow of a doubt you were going to delve into the unknown world of philanthropy and nonprofit, which is a life-changing event. So talk to me about what happened when Supplies for Success first began, and what triggered it.
Well, as I said, Supplies for Success started 24 years ago, and we
Right.
grew from helping 68 kids in our first year to 11,000 in our 18th year. And
Wow.
we were part of a big organization, UJA Federation of New York, and everything changed. Well, we just to take it back a moment, we were
Right.
told in 2018 that we had grown so big that we were taking so much staff time. We were having these giant backpack assembly events in different locations, and that it was time for us to launch to independence. I didn't want to do it. I loved being part of this big organization where they did all the back office for us, but I felt we had no choice, so we did, and we became a nonprofit in 2019. Then in
Wow.
2020, my life changed completely. Um, it was March of 2020 when I lost my 37-year-old son, Eric,
Mhm.
to a ski accident in Colorado.
I'm so
Um,
sorry.
and, I went from being this lucky girl, this lucky woman,
Mhm.
um, to having the worst thing that I think any mother could imagine happening
100%.
in life.
Absolutely.
And it happened in a moment, and it was 6 days before the World Health Organization declared coronavirus a pandemic. So, I lost Eric, and 6 days later, the world shut down.
Right.
And
And your world had already shut down
yes,
before.
yes.
Right.
And
Un
I
unbelievable.
I didn't know how I was going to survive this, and
No one ever does, because it grief is, and that kind of grief, it takes you. I always say it's an earthquake that levels you, and it takes your life is in rubble, and you're underneath it, and you don't know how you're gonna ever dig out.
yes, 100%. And my daughter called me, 6 days later, and, she said, "Mom, they closed Austin's school." So Austin is what was my at the time, 3 years old. Eric loved, cherished his nephew, Austin, and he she said, "What am I going to do?" And I said, "Well," I was thinking, "Well, Lisa, you're living in New York City. You have an apartment. You don't have to go to work. You're not a
Right.
first responder." And I started to think about all these first responders and what were they going to do? What were
Right.
these mothers who had to go to work as orderlies in hospitals or in homes for the elderly, what were they going to do and what were their kids going to do? So I started calling our suppliers to see if they were still open for business and if they had art supplies because I knew that 3-year-olds, their school supplies list is all art supplies.
Right.
And they did. 2 of them were open, 2 of them had art supplies, and within 2 weeks, we started shipping care kits, art-filled activity kits created in honor of Eric's memory, and we started shipping them to food banks, to hospitals, and
So fast. That's so unbelievable how quickly that you could even get your head off the pillow, let alone to react that swiftly to meet the need of other people. It's almost not fathomable.
but, it was the best thing I could do to help myself and to help those who were
Yeah.
so in need,
Right.
and also it really was the best medicine, the best self that I could
Healing. Yeah.
yes, to deal with my grief, to deal with my
Right.
pain, and to bring, my pain to purpose.
Absolutely. That's exactly what it is. And I think that what's so fascinating to me always is that I will say everything begins with loss. And here you already had this incredible organization and you were doing all this great work, but you took it to this next level at the lowest time of your life. You were able to take something so horrible and so painful and turn it into something so beautiful for so many thousands of kids. I mean, it's just it's just it's so beautiful and it's such a gorgeous tribute for
Thank
it's
you.
such a love story to Eric. I mean, it just is. All those children and at the time I think when those things when our lives get upended, we don't connect the dots so much. But as you look back, I mean, his hand was somehow in this, don't you think?
I wholeheartedly agree. I believe that, yes, that Eric was an angel and, he was part of it. That I had the opportunity to help Eric live on through what we were
Right.
doing in his honor, in his memory. And
So
yeah,
talk to me about the challenges of okay, you've been part of a bigger nonprofit. You're now your own nonprofit. You lose your son, COVID hits. You're now tripling, quadrupling the amount of, children that you're serving with these care kits. And how are you navigating all of this? Because just think if you were like a pencil manufacturer and all of a sudden you had to, sell 10 times as many pencils. It's the same thing with nonprofit. I mean, we're business people at the end of the day. People forget we're entrepreneurs. And all of a sudden your demand is through the roof. You're struggling and suffering. And yet, how are you dealing with everything? How is this happening?
well, I must say it's challenging. And, I think that for me, the biggest challenge has always been time, having enough of it.
Right, right.
And, I think that we've always been volunteer run. So it's a huge challenge. And the only employees that we've ever had are our college interns. Um,
Wow.
and our wonderful volunteers who have helped me every step of the way. Um, and I guess during the pandemic, we really had to pivot and change the way we did business. We weren't doing any
Right.
of our big backpack assembly events. How we had to fundraise really changed to, and fundraising. What nonprofit founder wants to do fundraising?
No, it's not fun and it's really hard work.
It's such
It
hard work. It's
it's
such
a
hard
bad
work.
business model. I always say, like, starting a business that relies on us asking for the kindness of others is just not a great business model. It's
It's so
hard.
yes, it's so hard. It's so hard. But, you know, one thing that I did, you know, speaking of entrepreneurship, is that I'm a retired lawyer, but I always loved the idea of business when and I always loved fashion. So 15 years ago, I started a social enterprise called the Better Collection for a Better World, where we have a website
I
where
like
we
it.
sell things that I just love. Um, and 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 yeah, so we really tried to do more fundraising that
Online
way.
commerce, right?
Yes, through e-commerce. We still do it. Um,
Good for you. You were ahead of the curve. I mean, I run a youth leadership organization as my day job, and we did camp online. Think about that. Camp in a box. And
oh
we
my god.
shipped 350 campers camp in a box and did camp
Wow.
on Zoom and produced our camp online. So I mean, but we had to get creative, right?
Yes.
And
Yes.
there is something kind of fabulous because when was the last time all of us had to stop and change everything and
Yes.
we and it shows that we can do it, right?
Yes, which is, you know, really beyond my wildest expectations.
Right. I mean, who would think? But talk to me like when we're doing this work because it's so hard. I mean, people forget that the entrepreneurs, how many hats we wear, we're asking for money, we're running our programs, we're dealing with inventory, we're dealing with all these things. People don't, they see finished product and they think, oh, I love that organization, they're so great, but there's a million decisions and things that had to go into every last care kit and everything that you're doing. So what fuels you when you are grieving, when you are struggling, when you just have one thing too many? Because burnout for us is kind of real, and
Yeah.
because in your case, you have children relying on you, and they will go without if you don't deliver. And so the weight we carry, I think, is heavier than the average bear.
I wholeheartedly agree again with you, Heidi. But I think that what fuels me is, first of all, the stories that I hear about the children that we help and
Right,
how it can, you know, what we provide is a game changer for so many of them. You know, kids who are the first to stay in school and go to college, kids who stay in school and you know have looked to education as their pathway to a better life.
right.
You know, we hear from social workers, from teachers, and there's and I do get burned out. By September, oh my goodness.
Well, that's got to be your crazy time. I mean, it's got
Yeah,
to be
summertime,
absolutely
you know, which is my favorite season of the year, I'm working all day, almost every day. But
right.
I think that what keeps me also inspired is this feeling of an attitude of gratitude where I have a picture of a little girl who's on my desktop, and her story is that she lost her mother when she was 6, and she was taken from her father uh, who neglected her and was placed in foster care. And she was embarrassed and ashamed to start school without a backpack filled with supplies. And we
Mm.
helped her. And this, when I look at this little girl, I really believe she looked like me when I was that age. And
Oh,
that could have been my story. You know, you said
right.
about the lottery of parenting. I mean, I feel like I did win the lottery of life. And that attitude of gratitude really keeps me going, and I just know that there but for the grace of God go I.
Right, right. I mean, it's interesting. I always say of the 95%, I would say the people I've interviewed have undergone a horrific loss, and out of that loss comes the nonprofit. And you're a hybrid story, and the other 5% have such gratitude that they start their organization from a place of gratitude.
Mhm.
And it's just it's so interesting to me because gratitude is like my Peloton. Anyone ever rides Peloton, my code name is grateful girl is my name on my Peloton bike. Like gratitude rules my world, everything, every day. um but when we have gratitude we have joy, right?
Yeah.
And and it's the holy grail that we get to this place, but we have to go through a lot to get there.
Yes.
It
Yes.
doesn't just show up on a special order from an Amazon truck.
Yeah.
It is a long journey to get there.
Yes, and trust me, having lost my son, having had challenges in my life as we all do, I have good days and bad days.
Right,
Those
right.
bad days are, they're
Yeah,
tough.
right. That's
But I do want to mention our new tool for success that we have introduced. So,
oh, well, I would like to hear it, and I also and you can share it with me also, because my next question I was gonna ask you is tell me about what success looks like for you and what success you think you've had. So why don't you share what success you've had and what these tools are? Because you beat me to the question, Mindy.
I'm sorry.
No, it's
Um,
great. It's great.
the success we've had is, to go from helping 68 kids in our first year to more than 300,000 in
Wow.
total, 36,000, close to 40,000 last year is,
Wow.
tremendous
Unbelievable.
and set success in my mind we've raised millions of dollars to make that happen.
Wow.
And we haven't accepted any money. We haven't asked for any money from the government. This is all from partnering with wonderful, amazing nonprofits, from philanthropic companies, businesses, and from the most amazing individuals we've raised the funds. People just who care. And um, I think that we've also experienced success in the way we've impacted kids' lives.
Right.
Um,
I mean,
you
that's a lot of lives, Mindy.
Yeah,
That's a lot of touch points. You think about that, right? You're just doing, 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 but you stop, you're like, wait, 300,000 children? I've had a hand in a cog of changing or doing some tiny piece in a big wheel of
yeah,
300,000 lives. I
yep,
mean, that's three Rose Bowls full of children. That's a lot of people. That's a lot of kids.
it
It's just
does.
it's incredible. So talk to me about what your new program is and what you guys are doing besides are you doing something in addition to Care Kits right now?
We are. We just introduced in January. It's a slow launch. We're kind of quietly introducing. So this, I suppose, is the biggest public
Oh,
sharing.
you
Um,
have my attention.
we felt that there's, of course, everybody I think knows that there's been a mental health crisis amongst the youth in our country.
Yes.
And, our mission is limited to helping kids in the United States. So, I had a desire to address that mental health issue. And in addition, we've had an explosion of hate.
Yeah.
There's, been a lot of
Mhm.
polarization and
Yep.
there's always been.
Politically and I saw something this morning on the news about Barstool Sports and yeah, there's just all sorts of
Right.
it's horrible.
So we're not a political organization.
Right.
We're
Most
non-sectarian.
nonprofits are not,
Yes,
contrary to some of the news. Most
yes,
nonprofits are
yes.
not.
But there's been an explosion of hate, and for me, as a Jewish grandmother to 3 little grandsons, I've seen, anti-Semitism too,
Right. It's
has
crazy.
has been amongst the forms of hate out there.
Correct.
So, I recently learned about mandala coloring. And mandalas, it's a form of coloring that, well, first of all, I just have to back up for a second to tell
Yeah.
you that I learned of mandala coloring from my friend's daughter, who's a pediatric cancer care nurse. And I said to her, Carly, how do you do this work day in and day out when you know that you will lose some of the kids? And she
Right.
said, "Oh, all of us nurses go home and we color mandalas to de-stress." I said, "Well, what is a mandala?"
Right.
And she explained to me that a mandala is a Sanskrit word, and it's a circular design that's meant to symbolize unity and harmony in the universe. And that mandala coloring has been used for centuries as a therapeutic tool to enhance mental health, to um, cre- help kids focus, to be used in meditation. And so I came up with the idea. I presented it to my board. They loved the idea of creating a book to combat hate of all kinds and to
Beautiful.
enhance mental health. So we are
I love
creating
that.
this mandala coloring book, and it was created in honor of Eric's memory.
Oh, I love that. That is a full circle moment. And I feel like mandalas, I want to say do they have mandalas sometime? Is it I feel like I've been at like a spiritual retreat place or something where you could walk a mandala, like they
Yes.
have paths that you can walk. Yes, I've walked a mandala or I've been a place that's had a mandala, which is where I learned because I said, "Oh, this is so beautiful." And they said, "Oh, go and walk around the fountain," but it was actually a mandala around this. And I learned about them, but I never heard about them with coloring. And the nonprofit that I started, and I need to get some of these books,
Yes.
is called Spiritual Care Guild at Children's Hospital Los Angeles. We provide chaplains of all faiths at Children's Hospital Los Angeles, where I've been involved
Beautiful.
for a long time. But not only support the families and the children by giving them chaplains, but we support the chaplains who support the nurses and the doctors. And the chaplains will come to a floor like fourth floor oncology, and they'll stay there with their tea cart and do tea for the soul, and they'll just be there for an hour or so with the staff, and they have all sorts of different things they've done with them, yoga and all sorts of different things. But I think that they would love some of these books. So this I'm
Wonderful.
having a moment, Mindy. I'm having a moment.
We were meant to connect.
We were meant to connect. This is so great. Well, first of all, I love that you are continuing to evolve and push and change and grow because it's easy to stay stagnant. And
Mhm.
you are obviously have not done that in 24 years. But I think as entrepreneurs, we're also dreamers. We always keep dreaming. We're our own best and worst enemies sometimes because like you said, you started out, with 68 children the first year, and you didn't just get to 300,000. Every year you pushed your envelope, you pushed a
Mhm.
little farther. So, are there any dreams left for Supplies for Success? What are the big dreams for the
Ab
organization?
absolutely, absolutely. Well, first of all, of course, I wanna get this mandala coloring book to into the hands of as many kids, educators, chaplains as possible, so count
Mm.
on us for a donation, Heidi.
Yay,
Mhm.
thank you.
And
Love that.
secondly, I mean, I have lots of dreams. I dream of the day when we don't need to provide these supplies.
Right.
Technology may be a help in that regard.
Right.
Um, but, because I know that poverty is, with us forever, and
Right.
I don't think that's going away anytime soon. Uh,
No.
I would love to find a successor.
Yes,
That's a
that's a very good dream, by the way. We could have a
that's
whole offline conversation about that. But
yes.
founder syndrome is a thing, and nonprofits don't always think about having a succession plan.
Yes, well,
So good for you. Good for you.
it's on
Bravo.
top of mind for me because I'm getting on in years and I would like to have a better life balance, but I
Right.
don't want to lessen the impact. I know the need is so great that I hope to grow and I hope to learn more and do more. And um,
So
yeah,
good.
I
And that's why we're here, right? We're on this earth for such a short time. And
yes.
I'm also we're a student. We're here to learn. And
Mhm.
part of learning is dreaming and pushing and doing and figuring out like why we're here and what we're supposed to be doing. And I love that you're still pushing the envelope and still looking for the next thing. I think that's fantastic. So, talk to me about some of the life lessons you've learned through all of this. I mean, 24 years is a really impressive run. But really, in the past, 7, 8 years, you've become your own standalone nonprofit. You're going through a global pandemic. You're losing your child, and there's so much that comes just with grief alone, let alone all the incredible work that you're doing. But what have you learned through all this service, incredible work that you've done?
Thank you, thank you. I've learned so much. I think for starters that I could do more. I'm capable of doing more than I ever expected. Secondly, I think that I'm more resilient. I didn't know that,
Right,
I could survive the loss of my son.
right,
Another life lesson for me is I believe that I am here on this earth and Eric is not because I have a mission to fulfill.
right,
That my purpose here is to do what I'm doing and to help more
right.
kids and to leave a legacy for Eric and for me.
It's an awfully good one. It's an awfully good one. And I have to say that, I think so many I did a talk last week and I had that slide up of the scene from Harry Met Sally, when the gal says, "I'll have what she's having." And when I think about nonprofit founders, we have purpose, and that's what
Mhm.
everybody wants.
Yeah.
They want what we're having. And
Yes.
and like we said, it doesn't come easily. It's a journey, it's a path, it's hard. There's usually loss and something involved in that journey. But on the other side of that purpose is such a peace and a joy that we're so blessed to do this.
Yeah.
And it's hard work, but it is joyful work. And we go to bed at night knowing, okay, we did something okay today. Someone's life is better because we did something today. And there's a gift in that, and that I think a lot of people don't get to experience.
I agree with you wholeheartedly. Again, I'm saying that word, but my heart is, I think, connected to you in that I feel so blessed to be able to do this good work.
Right.
And something else that's been amazing to me is when I hear people tell me that I've inspired them to be.
Right?
I didn't know that. I didn't know
Because we
that.
don't think like that. We don't think, we just
Oh,
do what we're doing. We don't think about it.
yes, and so that is so amazing to think that I'm inspiring other women, other people, and I know I've inspired my daughter, and I hope to inspire my grandchildren, and um, and that we are, I think, so fortunate that this work is so joyful. It makes us feel good.
It absolutely does. There is a legit helper's high, and my husband always says, "Couldn't you have just been a shopaholic? It would have been a lot easier to be addicted to shopping or something than service." Like, oh my gosh, Heidi, could you pick anything else? But there is such a great feeling, and anyone who's suffering in any way, who's listening, who's having a really hard time, when you help someone, it is the most healing thing you can ever do. You feel like you have nothing to give and you're so empty, and yet you help someone and somehow your tank is refueled. And it's the weirdest thing, but it
Yes.
it is the most healing thing we can do. And I think as these children, a lot of these kids are suffering with mental health. um, I just want to say, go and help somebody. I know you're suffering, but it's going to get, if you help someone, you're going to feel better. I promise you will. I know it's not, there's no silver bullet. It's not
No.
that simple. I know that. But I do think it is a little bit of the cure. So do you think you've changed in this journey at all, Mindy? Or do you think you're the same person when you started in 2002 as you are today?
Um, I find that a hard question to answer. I think that I'm basically the same person. However, I've definitely learned that, whereas I think I used to feel like good intentions and um caring were kind of enough, giving, passively,
Right,
but I have changed in that it's all about the action we choose to take.
right,
And I think that, that we all have to find our passion, that I found mine. It's always been children living in poverty. And
right.
how can we help? And then by my putting myself out there uncomfortably and taking action, that I have changed. I've grown. I've learned so much. I've met, and in the world of philanthropy, you meet the nicest, best
The
people,
greatest.
people who volunteered with me, who've become the closest of friends. And my closest
Mm.
old friends that were all volunteer too.
I love that. But you're bringing people together too.
Yes.
And you're bringing them together with a purpose that's now maybe a shared purpose and a shared
Yes,
mission because they do want what you're having and they
yes,
do want that passion and that joy and that feeling. And you're inviting them to the table to do that. And that's such a gift. And people that are looking for it, they sometimes don't know where to start. And right? They just
yes.
don't know where to start.
I think you're absolutely right. And I think that one of the things that many things I learned is that if you offer people the opportunity to do good, they want to.
Right?
They,
100%.
I think almost most people really want to do good and kind of don't know where to start. So,
I completely agree with you.
if you
And
follow your passion,
right?
take one small step.
And act, to your point, act. I grew up in a school and the motto was actions, not words. That was the motto. And I like to talk a lot. I definitely like to talk. But that action is everything. You have to do, even if it's picking up the phone saying, I want to get involved with something. And
Yes.
speaking of picking up the phone and getting involved, tell us how we can get involved with Supplies for Success, how we can donate, how we can follow you on social media, how we could volunteer.
Wonderful. Thank you for asking me that question. So I guess the first thing that people can do, which would be wonderful, is to visit our website. Um,
Yes.
and it's www.suppliesforsuccess.org. And there is more than one of us out there. Um,
Oh,
we were the first 24 years ago, but there have been others who are also doing, beautiful school supply drives. They're little, but
right.
just please look for the logo. It's a blue logo with an image of a girl standing at a chalkboard with pigtails.
Got it.
And I would say go to how you can help on that website.
Mm,
So we give
awesome.
some concrete ways that you can help. You can sponsor and host a backpack or care kit packing party in your own community. And we will send you all the supplies,
How
and you
fun.
can choose a local nonprofit to give everything to. Um, we
I
make
love that.
we make it really easy. We have a toolkit. We kind of know what we're doing after all these years. And
Yeah.
um, you can, of course, just become a subscriber to keep up on the news and to receive correspondence.
This
Um,
is so great. Well, I love that you have opportunities for people to come together and to do this. And, this conversation, people will probably be hearing it in summertime, and they're maybe going to be thinking about vacation, but they're going to be thinking about school supplies before you know it. And I think it's also such a great teaching opportunity for our kids to talk about gratitude, to talk about being grateful for the fact, or when you're buying your supplies, thinking about how you can, alongside that, walk with your
mhm.
organization and what we
Yes.
can do to support that.
Yep. I agree. I do appreciate that. And I think also, of course, we are on Instagram. We have a college
Yeah.
intern who handles our Instagram.
Awesome. Me too. Shout out to the college interns.
Yes, thank goodness. And
And is it at Supplies for Success on your Instagram?
yes, it's at
Okay.
Supplies for Success. Um, yes, and we're on Facebook. We're not on any other social
Platforms.
media to date. And then join us. I mean, we always need volunteers to, to if they can share their talent, their treasure, whether it be PR or um, we have lots of really highly educated, wonderful people who volunteer with us. Whether it's tech help or marketing or we even, could use help with the better collection.
I
Um,
love that.
and what I would say is beyond supplies for success is just to follow your passion and take action to pursue it
Amen.
by yeah, and how you can help.
I love that. Mindy, thank you for all you're doing, for the hundreds of thousands of children's lives you've touched, for all that you've done to make us think about gratitude. And I'm not going to look at a box of crayons the same way. I'm going to think of you every time I think of school supplies. And I'm going to think of Eric, and I'm going to think of all the beautiful things you're doing. So
Thank you,
thank you so much for sharing the story. What a gift you are.
Thank you. And you are a gift. You are a gift to the world for sure.
Oh,
Thank you.
thank you. Thank you for listening to this week's episode of the Charity Matters podcast. I really enjoyed talking to our guest, Mindy, about what it takes to start a business that truly changes people's lives. I think her comment about Sudaka and being good was so inspiring and true. To learn more about these modern day heroes and entrepreneurs, or if you'd like to reach out to us, visit us at charity-matters.com or connect with us on Instagram at Charity Matters. If you enjoyed our conversation, we would love it if you shared it with your family and friends. And please don't forget to subscribe and leave us a review. But more than that, thank you for caring, for believing in goodness, and for being a part of our movement. You are exactly what the world needs more of. Remember that together, we can make a difference, one small act of kindness at a time. Charity